The next match was also for a secondary title, for the Intercontinental title, which was the Nigerian drum fight, which was basically just a street fight, no disqualification, Ravens rules, however you want to call it.
Yeah, but there's drums surrounding the ring.
Yes.
Okay, now this is the match that
so it was
made me
basically Arcade Anarchy.
Yeah. Basically, this is the match that made me actually sunk in. Now, while I'm thinking about it, actually sunk in that this is still, while it is a WrestleMania, it's a scaled back WrestleMania.
Yes, yeah.
It's remember when we discussed Takeover, I was talking about how they would put the ladder matches around the ring if there was a ladder match.
yeah.
And they did this, but here's the difference. Before a ladder match or a TLC, they have that shot of showing all these props around the ring and making a big deal. They did not do that at all for this match.
Yeah.
The match started, and then you would notice, or during the entrances, you'd notice there's a few drums and a gong out there. It's like it was not fun at all, and makes you think, where's the pageantry? Where's WrestleMania? Where's the WrestleMania in this?
But at least it wasn't done like a jack-lantern brawl or a cupcake food fight brawl or whatever holiday shows are where they have pumpkins around the ring and they're hitting each other with it,
with the food and stuff.
That's what I thought they were gonna almost do at first. But honestly,
accepted at least one drum, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Big E picked up the gong and they still did not use it. What's the point?
But in all honesty, I was enjoying the match. It was fun.
I was thinking it's fun too.
Pretty well.
I think the steel steps being utilized is the more important. Important point because
I thought that
because there's history there. But
yes.
But still, if you're gonna put all this stuff together, then make it make sense, make it useful. It's not. Again, it's sort of like the Logan Paul thing. It's there to be there.
It was, yes.
And I think it makes me think that they had no idea what this match was gonna be until maybe day of.
And honestly, I see that it only went 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Honestly, I wish it would have gone 4 minutes longer.
Yeah.
And yes, give it to 10 minutes.
It
would have.
And maybe a little bit
worked a little bit better.
And maybe a little.
And I think
from the ring.
Yes. And what's this underground guy, Leo Rush's former heavy
oh god. Wait, was Leo Rush?
Dabakato.
The guy from the headline.
He was never on TV.
Oh, so he was on the beat.
They were never on TV. Yes, he did house show runs with him because when he was on was it the Greatest Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
When he was on that, looked him up, and all the stuff I could see was that he was Leo Rush's bodyguard on NXT house shows. But had the match gone 4 minutes longer and he not been involved, I think the match actually would have been even higher ranked, because I think they had Apollo Crews win by just continuously almost like Steve Austin when he used the chair continuously on The Rock, or just continuously do a maneuver on the chairs. Yes, hit your finisher a couple of times. Don't even go for the pin. Hit the finisher, pick him up, hit the finisher again. Just do it just to push yourself over in a brutal fashion. I think it would have worked a lot better.
I mean, the way Apollo carries himself,
take away one factor and add in a couple minutes.
What? Take away a factor of what?
I was to say take away the outside interference factor and have it just be more Cruz himself.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, but yeah. Basically, that was not the. Yeah, that would have been good. It's not their problem. But I think the way Apollo Crews carries himself, he needs a performance like what you just described, in order to be taken seriously. Because Big E has beaten you about 4 or 5 times in a row now, and
yeah.
And now you brought him into your own world of fight, which is the no disqualification match. It's a big tradition in Nigeria. Like, they start in a ring and then they fight until someone pins the other for a 3 count.
Yes.
But still, he's in your world, and you still needed someone to help you beat the guy.
Yes.
I think honestly, like, I remember when we were talking about Apollo Cruz's gimmick, and I said it's so bad it's good. I think he has leaned into it. I think it's his gimmick now.
It is.
It doesn't. Maybe because we've been listening to him for the past 2 months, so it doesn't sound weird. But I think he ran with it. He's making it work. That's good. But yeah. If you had to introduce the monster, you could have had him win, and then had this guy come out and just, pummel Big E after the match.
Yeah. Or even have that be the Friday debut, like he's in, like, Apollo Crews could have been in the ring celebrating.
If they have a rematch on SmackDown, then you can have that guy that they do interfere.
I honestly wouldn't have had the rematch on SmackDown because technically, in storyline mode, since it's no disqualification, technically, Big E didn't really have an out in it. So now he does, since there's an interference. But I would have done it on SmackDown. Apollo Crews is celebrating. Big E comes out and he's like, you did your thing, you upped your game, and he extends his hand. Apollo Crews just kind of scoffs at him, and then have Dabo attack him, and then you can build towards the rematch there, because you have Big E trade as the guy who's like, you know what, he's earned my respect, I'm going to try to do the right thing, and then he gets attacked. I think, plus, it's a post-Mania debut. I think that would have worked a hell of a lot better than at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it might have worked. And we need to address the elephant in the room. Why? I mean, the commentators not knowing who that guy is. Do you not watch your own TV show?
Yeah.
I mean, like, him being on the underground exclusively is one thing, but this guy wrestled Braun Strowman in the middle of the ring in what was billed as a big match, hyped up for 1 or maybe 2 weeks. So, like, come on. You could have said that's Daba Kato, and then change his name afterwards if you wanted to. But
didn't Michael Cole call the greatest Royal Rumble?
He did, yes.
Yeah.
But it was in 2018, 3.5 years, a lifetime ago. He has seen like the 400 wrestlers rise and fall. So how's he gonna remember?
Yes.
Besides, an argument could be made that the greatest Royal Rumble is non-canon. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. For you guys,
he was entrant.
We treat this stuff like comic books. Yeah, we do. That's.
He was entrant number 37 in Greatest Royal Rumble. In it for 5 minutes and 53 seconds.
Yeah.
Granted, not a lot of time. Plus, there are a couple people. There was like another guy who was in the Rumble also, who I don't remember that year. So, granted,
there's a Matt that
I might not remember that.
Who Samoa Joe destroyed on his anticipated debut.
Yeah,
that was in Tucker was in the Rumble.
But yeah, as you said, he was on, hyped up Raw Underground episode with Strowman, and at the time Strowman was on SmackDown.
Like he was in a Hyper Raw episode, Raw Underground episode with Strowman, and I think they actually had a match in the ring. They did. Well, so he's been like, okay, he disappeared off the face of the earth once he lost, but still, he main evented a Raw for you guys. He can't. I mean, you can't sweep that under the rug. I mean, like, granted, like a lot of us, like the audience that watches Raw probably has a short attention span. That's not a burn for the audience. I honestly get get short attention span when watching Raw most of the time nowadays. But still, you cannot do that. Like AEW treats shows that are not important, like Dark or Dark Elevation or Dark Underground or
Dark Elevation Part 2.
Yeah, all of those, they treat them like big shows on on Dynamite, and they expect you to watch all of them, which is wrong. But WWE just did the opposite. They had a program running on their main show, the show that matters, the flagship show, and they just treated it like it's an internet thing that no one knows it. Anyways, but I don't know, like I think the character of Apollo Crews needs a posse or needs a bodyguard. I don't know if it's like,
well, it makes sense because he's when he had those soldiers with him like a month ago, they were just using a couple guys from who were training down at NXT. So it's like, they don't necessarily want to have them on the roster at all times, so it kind of makes sense for him to have
it was going to be like
heavy
a Nation of Domination classic situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But but I don't know, do we really need AJ and Omos on Raw and then Apollo and Dabba-Kato on SmackDown?
I was thinking that too.
It's kind of redundant, but we'll see.
It is. He had, Hall of Fame segment.
Bayley.
I'm glad Bayley had another segment with the Bellas and Hogan and Titus. So Bayley definitely was presented as a strong character. So glad that happened for her.
Yeah, it's Bayley is a classic. You can put her in any situation and she's gonna make it work.
Exactly.
And I think they realized that not having Bayley on WrestleMania would be a mistake, and they did give her something. Or maybe this was the plan originally from the beginning, that Bayley's going to be doing this stuff because Bayley doesn't need to be in the ring, but we can use her for something.
Plus, the fact that she was calling herself the host, it was perfect for modern Bayley.
Yeah, it's perfect delusional, thinking about Bayley. It's kind of like the story being told here is that she started this talk show just to to humiliate Bianca, but somewhere along the way it got to her head that she's a big time TV host.
Yes. Yeah. She was asking Eric Bischoff to be a guest and everything, or for him to host her show on his Pod Network. It was pretty funny. Yeah,
and classic line by Titus, like, this is the second WrestleMania in a row where he sends that, where I want to go on the boat. Oh my God.
I hope that continues next year. I hope Titus has another bewildered moment.
He co-hosts again, and I think it seems like he is getting some great results as Hogan's social awareness trainer. Yes.
Honestly, you know how they still do it now, where they have guest commentators for Mania. I'd be cool with actually. You know what? We were talking about that off the air earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Titus O'Neil on SmackDown. That'd be cool.
Yeah. For those of you listening, we were we were talking about how the lineup of the commentary changed up for this week, and Corey Graves is going to Raw because Todd Phillips is out, and they have a new guy coming in, Adnan can't remember the other name.
I can't remember the last name either.
And
Titus O'Neil might be a decent person to try out on SmackDown.
If they're gonna replace, they're gonna have someone fill in for Corey until the other guy until Adnan gets his sea legs under him. That's gonna that's a good guy to because he is well spoken. I mean, like, if you didn't even hear his promos or any interviews, his Hall of Fame speech alone shows you that. The only problem is we have not heard him talk about wrestling or break it down as much as before. But he still can be an eloquent speaker, so it can work.
Trial by fire.
Yeah.
He's a former tag team champion, so he has accolades and everything. So yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah. After seeing the Bellas on the bump, I could tell you that maybe Nikki Bella could try out for that. Okay, that's a bit.
Honestly, yeah.
But I mean, like, it's very weird because every interview they have with them, they seem to know a lot about the business, but because we are more familiar with their in-ring work and their promos
associated.
Yeah. So we don't think that they know the business as good. But then again, their whole deal was not about how they work in the ring. Their whole deal was about they were presented as those, I'm not saying this is them in real life, but they were presented as those, shallow, care for nothing girls. Basically what apparently was the real life personality of Sable back in the 90s.
Exactly.
That's what they were presented as. So maybe beneath that there is a lot of knowledge, or I think I mean, at least Nikki Bella, Nikki Bella especially worked a lot on herself to improve. That's and she produced a lot of. Now I am notorious for back in the day on Twitter for just roasting the Bellas. Now, when I say roasting the Bellas, that makes me seem like, I was doing it and the world was watching. No, I was roasting the Bellas in my own little corner of Twitter where, I have like about 1,000 followers and maybe 200 of them or less pay attention to me, if that. But I have since calmed down and became a more mellow person. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's except when someone brings up a WCW title being defended on WWE, but that's another story. But I think, like I gotta give the devil his due. You and me, we both loved Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Like we thought going into it, it was the perfect, clash between styles and clash between personalities. And they actually delivered. Like Nikki Bella as the wrestler, Brie Bella as the second. They played those roles to perfection in that match. So I would not be opposed to them. Again, Titus is a great suggestion. I would not be opposed to Nikki Bella. Not sure about Brie.
Neither would I.
Yeah, not sure.
Nikki is definitely the more confident of the mic.
Yeah, but yeah, I would give Nikki Bella a chance. And those pirate suits were on point, honestly, for Titus and Hogan. So,
so speaking of women, we had women's championship next, which didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, but I'm glad it didn't go the way a lot of people thought it was going to go as well. I'm glad Rhea didn't win in a squash.
Rhea dominating.
Yes. I didn't think Asuka was going to squash her, but I thought Asuka was going to be really vicious, which she wasn't. Even though Cole was like, "Oh, here's the mean streak of Asuka," which I didn't really get of that complete vibe in the match.
She wasn't vicious. She was tenacious.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's how you.
And
I wanted vicious too, and she maybe touched the surface of that, but she never went full vicious in this match.
Yeah. And honestly, to me, I don't think Rhea Ripley's a heel right now, because a lot of times, when they do face versus face, a lot of times,
Yeah, she was a heel coming into this match though, because on the go home Raw, pushing Asuka off the turnbuckle when they're partners. That's a no-no.
But that's what I mean. Like, a lot of times going in to like a SummerSlam or a Mania match, it's face versus face. A lot of times one face will
switch,
do something to another face. Like Shawn Michaels was notorious for doing that.
Yeah, like Shawn Michaels.
I think a lot of people thought
in his latest run, he turned heel versus Hogan. He turned heel versus The Undertaker. He turned heel. He kind of turned heel versus Cena, but because it was Cena, he was the babyface by proxy. By proxy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Rhea was wrestling more of a. Like the next night just popped over. It was one of those situations where you don't turn heel, you position yourself as the heel for the match.
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels was amazing at that, because you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, so he's going somewhere in his mind where he needs to go in order to get the psychological advantage in this match.
Yes.
Ironically, none of these rivalries I mentioned has he gained the actual, has he won those matches.
Yeah.
So, he actually beat Cena when he did not heel. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Rhea was wrestling more of a, heel style. She was wrestling more for NXT UK style.
Yes.
Which, granted, she was a heel in NXT UK.
But she wasn't like a dirty heel. She was just a dominant heel.
Yes. And she was talking trash to Asuka, which worked. It'll be interesting what happens tomorrow. I think there's a good chance of Becky and Charlotte both returning tomorrow. Like, the Raw Women's Division is gonna have some star power behind it. It's still not really deep, but it's gonna have star power for sure with
Becky coming back. Like, if you have Becky, Asuka, and Rhea at the top,
Charlotte,
and Charlotte coming back, you have your main event as far as women's division go planned out
next few months
until SummerSlam, at least, if not Survivor Series.
Yeah, exactly. Because you figure there's one-on-one matches, triple threat matches, 4-ways. Yeah. There's a lot you can do. Yeah, even honestly, you could even do if they're all aligned as a baby face, you could even have them in a thing against Nia, Shayna.
You could have the tag team champions,
whomever else.
Because it seems like that's what those titles are for now. They're the distraction for the main champions until something happens. Sad but true.
Yes, exactly.
But I
thought it was a good match, though.
Yeah, it was a good match. I'm happy Asuka did not appear as a pushover, because
same.
Yeah, I felt like this might have been it. Poor Asuka, I think they just see her as a utility player. She's the person they fall back on when they have no one else to turn to.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. It's basically like Kofi Kingston pre-New Day, where he knew he was a dependable IC or US champion. So it's like, all right, we need to have a babyface IC or US. Put it on Kofi right now.
And then
it worked for him. It works for Asuka.
Yeah. And there was that moment where I was like terrified, where Asuka, after the match, where Asuka was, getting up on the ropes and she was looking at Rhea, and I was like, and thankfully didn't have, I was like, please don't shake her hand, please don't shake her hand, please don't shake.
Yeah, because she did with Charlotte.
Yeah, because if she does that again at the WrestleMania, it's gonna be she's gonna be branded a loser. That's gonna be it.
Yeah, exactly.
And thankfully she did not do it. And who knows? Maybe this is what brings out the vicious Asuka. Maybe we could be wrong. Maybe without Becky in the picture, without Charlotte in the picture, Asuka just chases Rhea at Backlash, brings back the old Asuka, and destroys her. bends the rules, maybe cheats a little bit, exposes turnbuckle or something, and then regains the championship amidst the shower of booze.
Yeah, because then you could have the rubber match at Money in the Bank, and then by the time that happens, you also position Becky or Charlotte, who are the two best choices to win Money in the Bank this year.
They'd be waiting in the wings. Honestly, Becky
Lynch
did not need the Money in the Bank briefcase. Becky might be the better fit because she's been out of the action for about a year. The Money in the Bank match, I think you said this before in chat, is that she lost. She had to give up the title to the Money in the Bank winner.
Yes, exactly. I think I don't think they need it, but for Becky, poetic, and for Charlotte, it's the only accomplishment that she still needs is to cross off her list.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the only reason it might be for Charlotte, is just so she can. I don't want to say that they think this poorly of Asuka, but I think for like the office, they're like, hey, Asuka is the only person that has all the accomplishments, and the United Kingdom Championship. I guess technically the NXT tag titles, but they're both past her NXT times. Charlotte needs that so she can be tied with Asuka as far as all the main roster accomplishments.
Go to Asuka versus Charlotte in non-title match. Yep. In a non-title feud, you can have Asuka versus Charlotte.
Exactly.
Which I think WrestleMania is overdue for a singles match between two women that is not for a championship.
We have the main event, which for me is Match of Mania. I'd still probably put a couple of the takeover matches above it, possibly. At least Cole and Kyle. I'm still debating everything with it, but this is easily for me match of WrestleMania.
No, not just weekend, epic. Not week. So we're
we have weekend. Yes, it felt epic. All three guys larger than life.
Yes.
Which is one thing WWE, a lot of WWE shows are missing, is those larger than life personalities. You have three guys that all had to vacate their championships at different points. Two guys that actually retired. One person that could have died. So all three guys had a rebound.
You're looking at it from the outside. It's from outside the story itself being told. I don't think it's a huge achievement. And if you remember in the promos for WrestleMania 26, they would say something about it's the power of all, the triumph of spirit.
Yeah.
WrestleMania, and I think there is nothing that personifies the triumph of spirit as much as this match being the main event. Not the match itself and the execution even, just that these three people made it to the main event of WrestleMania after each one had their own brush with career ending. Two of them actually had a career end but restart, and one of them had the brush with death. So it's the fact that these three guys who at one point or another, you've said this before, I've said before, a lot of people are saying it all over the world, but that three guys that at one point or another were told that they are not going to wrestle again.
Yes.
And the three of them now are in the main event of the biggest wrestling show of the year. Yes, again, the biggest wrestling show of the year. It's not Wrestle Kingdom. It's not AEW Revolution or All Out or whatever. It's not any of of my beloved takeovers or your beloved takeovers. It is WrestleMania.
It is the biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
It is pageantry. It is emotion. It is
the introduction of wrestling to the world.
You dress to the nines, the best gear, best entrances, and I always had the best matches.
But the best moment.
make the match feel big fight, and this match had big fight. This match had great gear for Edge. Roman, of course, was Roman. His character right now doesn't need to have flash, except he still had his legs and stuff on.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan even threw on a hoodie on the way to the ring, so that's his
like if
special entrance.
Daniel Bryan never wears a hoodie to the ring. He usually wears a t-shirt. So so this is like
it's like that's him, and it makes sense for Daniel Bryan to do it that way because Daniel Bryan's really lo-fi anyhow. But it makes sense for him to do it that.
But even though if it was still the stripped down normal Daniel Bryan entrance, it still felt like one of, if not the biggest entrance he has ever made.
Yes.
It's the way that...
And when he came out, like, you could tell he really took in the moment when because his character... He was
taking it in every second of the way. That was...
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, seeing Daniel Bryan walk to the ring, I think you probably felt the same way. It elevated me just watching that small part.
It totally. That honestly was the first true Mania feeling. And by that I mean the first person that really seemed to embrace fully what was going on. Granted, everyone else paid attention. Like even Randy Orton kind of looked around at the crowd, but Daniel Bryan, he became champion because of the crowd.
Yeah. Because the
crowd rallied behind him. In 2013, who were being beaten down, they didn't want to see Cena anymore. Daniel Bryan became the person people championed behind, and took him to the main event at WrestleMania in 2014. It turned Rey Mysterio for one night to the biggest heel without actually turning heel, because he didn't come out as he took Daniel Bryan's spot. It turned Batista heel. It's one of the factors that led to people really hating Roman Reigns. People love Daniel Bryan, so when he came to the ring, fully getting the movement behind him with the yes chants, it was magical. Because there's nothing like a yes chant at WrestleMania. It is insane.
No, there is not. It's
otherworldly.
Like, and Daniel Bryan especially, you want to see him succeed. You want him to I don't know, this whole thing about like him not having ambition or whatever, that's core thing, but I think that's a flawed system if it's showed, because he actually, he enjoys what he does, but I will tell you this: WrestleMania 35, he was the bad guy against Kofi freaking Kingston, and and everyone was booing him. I was booing him. I was cheering for Kofi, but I felt guilty about cheering against Daniel Bryan. That's how powerful that man is. That's how much you want to believe this, and to think that this guy, who was the American Dragon in Ring of Honor and who was just an asshole down there, would elicit such love from the people, would elicit such good vibes, would elicit such strong emotions, where he just you feel elevated, where I think you watched recently the WWE's YouTube show, the greatest debate about the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Yes.
And the guy who chose WrestleMania 30, he said
baseball guy.
Yeah, the baseball guy. We're really good with these names. Is he a pitcher or is he a batter? Because we need a more specific.
He was drinking coffee.
Okay, coffee drinking guy. Because I was gonna say, like, for example, catcher guy or first base guy, instead of just a generalized baseball guy. Because Pat is punter guy. We know exactly what he's doing on the field. But anyway, the guy said something about WrestleMania 30 that it could be the series finale of the WWE, and when I broke it down in my mind, holy shit, the end of the streak, The triumph of the good, the triumph of the end of the streak, so the cowboy rides off into the sunset. That's one. And the other thing is the ultimate protagonist beats the system.
Exactly.
And right. I was completely sad about the Undertaker losing the streak, but I remember being in that stadium when Daniel Bryan made his entrance. We were engaging, maybe half-heartedly, because the Undertaker had just lost at WrestleMania, and it's still a powerful moment that was in. But at the end of that match, when he gets that tap out, and watch again, that stadium explodes. The Superdome explodes, and you're happy. And it's something that, if I, for a second, now granted it's hazy because it's after the Undertaker lost for me, but I took the time to take that picture of him holding the titles, and I was like, yes, and you're collecting confetti. If this guy, makes someone like me, or like even for a minute, get over seeing the Undertaker just lose for the first time at WrestleMania. Can you imagine how powerful that guy is? I'm wearing his shirt, by the way, from New Orleans. That's right here. It has the thing. Now you can't see it, Joe, but I'm just doing it for the camera. Wow. I love Daniel Bryan. I'm gonna say that. Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna cheer against Daniel Bryan going forward and think Kofi was a special case. I don't think I'm gonna do that again for anyone else.
Oh, like, especially here, like, much like Brendan Batista, Roman and Edge were like, we want to get rid of this guy, and they kept doing it in the match. Like, they kept trying to take Bryan out, and
they went after him like right as the bell rang. Like, you could see both of them right before the match started shooting him those dirty looks of like, you don't belong here.
Yeah, wanted it to be a war between the two of them, and there was a story within a story. Like, the Edge and Roman seemingly wanted to eat the other person, which actually plays an important part at the very end of the match.
Yes.
Kept trying to take out Bryan. Edge.
Did you freeze? Hello?
First off, factor at the end. Well, at the end, sort of, but at the beginning,
can you just
added a lot to this.
Joe?
Like,
Joe.
As soon as Jey Uso attacked, it became chaotic, and I loved the chaotic nature of this match.
Joe. Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you just repeat that back once about Edge, because you cut out for me for the YouTube?
Yeah. Did you hear the Jey Uso part?
I heard at the start when you were going where Edge took out Jey Uso from the beginning, but that didn't actually make the audio for me. So.
Okay. As soon as like Jey Uso attacks at the beginning, he goes after Edge. He goes after Bryan, and it becomes chaotic right there. So, like, kudos to Jey Uso for adding in that extra element.
Yeah.
Didn't even play a factor throughout most of the match, because the match lasted
15 minutes, maybe less.
The match lasted 21 minutes 21? And 40 seconds.
Wow. That match flew. That match flew by. I thought it was much less.
It did. And Jay was involved for maybe the first 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes in the last 10 minutes. So not even that. Maybe like 2 minutes at the beginning, 2 minutes somewhere in between.
It was
but he was very memorable in the match.
He came out pretty quick, and then he came in the last few seconds, I think.
When he attacked Bryan and Edge then goes after him, and Edge snaps right there.
Yeah.
Edge begins to go after Roman and Bryan with chairs. Roman starts using chairs, and they both take out Bryan at different times.
Yeah.
Roman and Edge want to go to war. They want to go to war with each other, and every time that they do, Bryan gets involved. Roman and Edge give a double spear to each other, which is insane. I've wanted to see that for a long time. That's really those two,
But
just,
just
a double spear at some
spear,
point.
yeah.
Yes, and wasn't that exact moment, but there was a part where they were laid down. Bryan comes in, headbutt, goes the other side, headbutt, and Bryan's taken out again. Edge
That headbutt sequence
trying to make Roman tap. Yes. Edge takes the broken part of the chair, which at first thought was a botch, but I'm not sure if they just ran with it or what, but it played out perfectly. He takes the broken part of that chair and he's prying it into Roman, and then Daniel Bryan gets in the ring. And
because it's a nitpick that I think he just improvised, because it's a cool thing, but
I did too.
It doesn't add to the match that much. It's just
it felt like they improvised with it, because Edge's face kind of looked shocked when it happened.
Like because he kind of he did a whole it's almost like he broke the fourth wall, looking at the chair like, well, that was not supposed to happen.
Yeah. And Bryan gets involved, and he's like. He Denny's it, like he's like, hey, Lisa and Tommy, I'm gonna get involved in your situation real quick, and he then locks in a submission.
I'm gonna get that submission, which technically it's stupid,
led to
because you don't know who he's gonna tap to, or he submits.
Which I thought they might do that. I thought might actually do that. I was like, holy shit, are they going to do a screwy finish to end Mania? But then they started doing that headbutt with each other. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. But it's the whole idea of...
Bryan is now involved in...
Yeah.
He's involved in a headbutt war with Dolph Ziggler and Edge now.
Yeah. Like, he don't headbutt with Daniel. He's a goat.
Yeah.
Like, he's the GOAT as well. Like, I don't want anyone to think I'm like, but
especially
the perception of the character of Bryan 2014 was that he was the GOAT face, and he ran with it. He was the flying GOAT. So like, GOATs are known for pretty hard.
Plus, do you early Ring of Honor had a lot of headbutts. It had a lot of that almost like MMA and jiu-jitsu style, which Kyle O'Reilly uses, and works for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
and honestly it added to this match because
they cringe me, because I'm like, I imagine that stuff happening, but it works when they're dramatically perfect. When they're done right.
They make me cringe, but I still watch them.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh god, something might go wrong here.
Like, okay, let's see in the chat.
Especially for Bryan and Edge, who had neck injuries.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Bryan, who had concussions.
Yeah.
And okay, I'm gonna ask you this because I mean, I think it's clear to everyone listening that we are chatting to each other while watching these shows. But I commented, "This is gold," and then you commented, "This is gold." Were you talking about that moment as well? Because that's what I was talking about.
Yes. Yep, it was.
Like, we were both blown away by it. And Edge is, let's give the devil his due, though the acting training that he's done is paying off dividends, because slowly, methodically, he was reaching his limits. He was like becoming unhinged since Daniel Bryan got added to the match, or since Daniel Bryan was challenged for that Fastlane. Every week you see him go further over the edge, so no pun intended. But it comes to a head in this match. It came to a head actually the Friday before, like on WrestleMania Friday on that interview, because you could say, this guy has lost it. This guy is the...
I would try to do an imitation, but like eyes are like tired enough so they can't do it. But like, there was a part where Edge was doing chair shots, and his eyes were bugging, and then they do a close up of his face, and his eyes are just huge, and he looks sadistic. It's totally
you're looking at
2004 to 2007 Edge.
Yeah, and you look at it, and you know what? The Adam Copeland part of him is gone now. It's just Edge.
Yes. It was literally Edge from
Extreme Edge. It's
Taboo Tuesday 2004 until Edge became Vicky Guerrero's boyfriend.
Yeah, until he cashed in on
that's the bookend.
That's
yes. Yes, exactly. So that's like the perfect bookend from when he first became an official heel to when he debuted on SmackDown. It's like the bookend of the real era of rated R superstar, ruthless aggression,
superstar
Edge.
Yeah, and
yes, and it was a great story. The whole thing told a story, and
the whole thing, like
Roman Reigns.
If you remember that movie that if you go into see in a theater and sitting through a movie and the movie just grips you from the first scene and doesn't let you go until the end credits.
That's what this did.
That's what this match is.
Roman Reigns accomplished two things in this match. He eliminated Nuisance. He beat his foe. The same exact time.
Yeah, he did.
The exact same time. But I was confused at first. I when Bryan was down and you dragged Edge's body and laid it on the top of Bryan, I was like, holy shit. Hey, are they doing some sort of swerve or
finger poke of doom type of stuff?
Yeah. And then
I thought about like, oh shit, this guy's gonna pin both of them. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm glad because I've always wanted that in triple threat matches. I was always like, it's the perfect way to make sure you don't have to defend against the other person. Instead of pinning one person and having to worry about a rematch, pin them both at the same time.
Yeah, just be, that dominance. But it's kind of tricky the way he did it because there's going to be an internet guy somewhere. I mean, the thought crossed my mind, but I dismissed it because there are some times where you just have to forego logic. But isn't technically Edge covering Bryan as well?
Thought that too.
Yeah,
but he was covering Edge, so
it was such a good finish. I don't want to ruin that.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I do think Edge, being the ultimate opportunist, used that. I do think I don't think that wasn't done intentionally. I think it was done intentionally.
Yeah, if they go full heel Edge, which they might. He might actually come out and say that on SmackDown, like show the footage or the picture or the still. They're not going to show footage, so they're just going to show the still of what happened, and he's going to say, as you can clearly see, I am covering Daniel Bryan during that 3 count. So I won that match too.
Which I think they might do. I think Edge might do that, and I think Edge might get suspended. I think they might take Edge off TV for a couple months, because let's face it. I mean, we don't want Edge to push himself too hard.
Yeah.
I think this would be a perfect way to take him off TV. You suspend him for something where he attacks somebody or does something because he's so pissed off about getting screwed out of Wrestlemania.
If
you suspend Edge.
If they even bring him out for SmackDown, because I think like the concertos, both of them looked so devastating. I would say let's put it in there that both Daniel Bryan and Edge are unable to appear this week.
Yeah.
Do it next week, at least. And
exactly.
Talking about those two concertos being devastated, Daniel Bryan, oh god, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but his foot convulsing after he took those shots, after he took that shot, that was gold.
I was wondering that too.
Yeah, that is gold, and I hope it was an intentional thing and not him.
I do too.
And not him actually convulsing out of. And go back to the double submission spot, and once again Edge, being that that method character, you could see him looking at Daniel Bryan, and he could see the match slipping because this guy just put himself in my business, and he yells, "Let go!" out of desperation. It's not. He knows he's not gonna let go just because he yelled at him to let go, but it's out of desperation. He's just let go, and Bryan is like, "You let go." But Daniel Bryan at this point is like, I don't know if this is if the intention is that he is actually also pissed off, but. Dude, you're the guy who is jumping, who's bandwagoning over his submission. You don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, but or he's just trying to piss him off, and then Edge headbutts him, and you can tell this was the point. Like, even though throughout all this chaos, Daniel Bryan seemed like ferocious, but still in control, still calm and collected. But I can tell that those headbutts, I think, storyline wise, those are what set Bryan off, because. He's just, you want a headbutt, bang, 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 and then he did the whole, the chest stomp thing that he does, and you're like, oh, Bryan is there too, Bryan has reached that level too. Wow, perfect match. Honestly,
match of the weekend.
Yeah, match of the weekend. It might not be match of the week. Bell to bell per se, but I think the grandeur that went into it, the storyline that went to it, the characters, it being a Mania, in the bigger picture, it's gonna be the most memorable match of this whole week.
I agree. It was epic. It literally felt epic. It was chaotic. All three guys felt huge. Felt like a WrestleMania. This match topped off great week, whatever you want to call it, and week still continuing. Like
we still have 2 nights to go.
WrestleMania, there's Raw tomorrow, NXT Tuesday, and then at least for myself, Wednesday I'm gonna be watching MLW. Thursday, you and I will both be watching UK. Yeah. Friday is SmackDown. Then next Saturday, I'll be watching the 500th episode of Ring of Honor. It's like,
I might that one too.
It's gonna be great.
Just too much wrestling in a week. That's my problem. I mean, I kudos to you, sir. I give you props for being able to keep up with all of it, and still being able to watch TV shows like Saturday Night Live, Resident Alien, and Snowpiercer, all the stuff.
All that stuff, yes.
and did you add Law? And have you added Law and Order, Organized Crime to your viewing slate? Because I have.
No, I watched the first one. It'll be one of those things that I might not watch weekly, but
because unlike the regular Law and Order, I think this one has a story. It's less episodic and it's more
serialized. I might check out the second episode.
Yeah. One more thing before we move on.
Ring of Honor has.
Let me say one more thing about the triple threat main event, and then we can let's move on to Ring of Honor. But Roman Reigns, kudos to you, sir. Not just for winning this match. I was pleasantly surprised to hear people actually booing him in that stadium. I thought that the appreciation for him that I have, you have, James and Pete have, would have carried on to everyone else, but apparently people still hate his guts. Now I'm hoping not that they hate Roman because
he took it in.
He took it in, and this is the first time he goes out. This is actually the first time ever that he appears before since the Shield. I mean, this is the first time he ever appears before a crowd as a heel. This is the first time that the boos that he's getting are warranted.
Yeah.
So if they hate him,
basically since the last real official heel time was right before Elimination Chamber 2014, because they basically turned babyface in the feud going into the Wyatts. So it's basically been since about January or February of 2014.
Yeah.
And he took in the boos at that one point when he sat on the ring apron He's watching Daniel Bryan's body, and then he gets up, positions the stairs, is getting ready to powerbomb him, and he's taking in the booze.
Yeah, he's taking. And that's the point where I actually
he looks around
it, because he's taking in, and the people they let him have it.
He's like breathing heavy. He has hair in front of his face, like he's been through a war, and he's just like listening. He's like, I finally deserve these.
Yeah, this is kind of like where the WWE comic book from Boom, when they showed his thought process going into the triple threat match with Dean Ambrose and Seth, and he was like, bark all you want, you dogs, little dogs. He was thinking that in his mind in the comic book, and I think perfect for him doing this is thinking the same thing now. It's
but yeah, I thought it was, as I said, like one of the top 10 manias. I
honestly, I
thought it was epic.
The Fiend's entrance and the main event elevated this second night to a degree that I think it would have been just a standard Mania, but it became an extraordinary because of that main event, because of the Fiend's and because of the Fiend's presentation, not the way that segment ended. But then again, the possibilities coming out of the segment, as we discussed earlier, are great. And and night one honestly was the closest thing you can have to a perfect Mania in a long time.
I agree. I'm gonna head off pretty soon and crash out, but
you were talking about Ring of Honor.
For people who are for people who are listening, if you guys are checking out like Ring of Honor, 500th episode is coming up this weekend. Jay Briscoe versus Mark Briscoe. Then also a Pure Rules match with Jonathan Gresham and Jay Lethal. Jonathan Gresham, in my opinion, is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world right now. So if you guys have Ring of Honor on a Sinclair station in your area, or if you just go on to Ring of Honor's website next Monday, so a week from today when this episode drops, so 7 days from now, check it out. It's their 500th one, so it's a milestone for them, and you're destined to see greatness with Lethal versus Gresham, because they've had some classics in the past. They had an Iron Man match. If a person if you had a buddy over who watched WrestleMania and they're interested in watching wrestling, but they're bored with Raw and SmackDown, they're tired of the whole NXT versus AEW thing, tell them to watch that. So that's pretty much capping off my WrestleMania 11-day binge, whatever you want to call it, marathon.
And if I'm gonna just one last cheap plug, if you guys WrestleMania is over and now we're back to old-fashioned wrestling, if you are having WrestleMania withdrawals and want to relive some classic WrestleMania stuff, I have written a 4-chapter blog detailing one of, if not the biggest match series in the history of wrestling, definitely the biggest match series in the history of WrestleMania. Covering a huge saga that was between the 3 biggest names in WrestleMania history, and definitely between the 3 of them, there's going to be 2 on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling for any fan. The Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. Those the matches that took place between WrestleMania 25 and WrestleMania 28. I'm not going to include Triple H in all of them, but just that because 25 and 26 he was not in this saga. But the matches, the Undertaker's streak matches between WrestleMania 25 that ran through WrestleMania 25, 26, 27, and 28, and how they are connected, the four of those matches together, and how these 3 men made absolutely pure long-time storytelling magic with those. I will have the link in the on this YouTube video. I will talk our social media manager about putting that link on our social media. I don't know if he's gonna okay, I'm pointing the wrong way. If he's going to agree or not, but I'm pretty sure the guy has a soft spot for me, so I
think the guy that runs one of the social medias, I think he called it a sports documentary, but in written word, and the best written piece about professional wrestling, not from somebody in the industry he has read, and it truly feels like an epic saga. 4 stories all tie together. They go into history of the build-up each match, about a year's worth of build-up for each match, and details of that match as well. They'll definitely be posted on social media accounts.
All right, I think we got the official word, and I'd like to thank Mr. O'Connor here for relaying that message from the mysterious person who is not
the anonymous general manager.
The anonymous general manager who is running our social media. All right, guys, and if we haven't done any fan outreach because we were waiting for a fan base to be built, but I think that's not fair to the couple dozen people that follow us. So if anyone has any thoughts about WrestleManias or so forth, let us know. We're on Instagram at Outlaw Macho Drive-In, just the one word. On Twitter at OMDI_podcast. And on Facebook, search for Outlaw Macho Drive-In. We're on there too. And check us out on YouTube, Outlaw Macho Drive-In. Just search for that. And of course, if you're listening to this podcast, you don't need to know. You don't need to hear this information again. But where are we available, Mr. O'Connor?
We are available on Anchor, Google, Spotify, and various other fine podcasting networks.
All right. Yeah. Yes. And if you're a long-time listener and you're thinking, "Whoa, these guys sound different," yeah, man, we're professional now. We got that Anchor $5 money. I mean,
wow. So eventually it'll pop up in the account.
Oh, it's still not in there. Okay, so we got that Anchor credit money.
Yes. Last I checked, there was like 2 pennies that were in the account. I was like, oh, that's definitely going far.
Are we putting a hat out and did someone just walk by and drop those?
They must have.
And there goes professionalism.
We'll be back with a new episode on Sunday detailing celebrities in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Until then, happy podcasting, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully for everyone who didn't get a chance to go to WrestleMania, you'll go to WrestleMania next year. Perhaps you'll get a chance to say hello to us.
Yes. And by then we'll have at least doubled our fan base.
Yes. So, we might have enough for a whole Royal Rumble.
Oh, that killed me. Just go home. Just go home.
World War III if we're lucky.
Oh no, I think we're like a couple of years away from World War III.
I think so too.
I mean, we can. I mean, the best we can hope for is the 2011 Rumble.
That's right. But yep, happy podcasting, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy podcasting.
Thank you for joining us on the Outlaw Macho Drive-In. If you liked that video, please click like and subscribe to our channel for more content from the Drive-In. For full episodes of our podcast, you may look us up on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are available. Just search for Outlaw Macho Drive-In. And if it's not too much trouble, would you help us out here? Spread the word, share. We would really appreciate it. Thank you. We love you. Bye.